everyone, welcome back to the Self-Made Society podcast. I am your host, Kaylee Elliott, and I am very excited for this episode. I'm just going to be honest, I've said this in almost every single episode since I have recorded. If you hear my cat, I am sorry. It is in her bedtime when I am recording this, but I have said this in almost every single episode that I don't really plan out my episodes. I just think of something, and if it sounds good, then I go with it and hope that the episode turns out good. So that is what we're doing today. And as you can see by the title of this episode, we're going to be talking about God's timing, trusting in Him, and just believing that He has a better and bigger plan than what we can even think of if we trust in Him and surrender our life to Him. And this past month, has been insane. I know I've talked about it in a few of my episodes of me going through a breakup, and honestly, never thought it would happen with that guy, but I'm so glad that it did. And happy that it did, and I don't want anyone associated with him to hear that and be like, she is the worst person ever. How could she be happy that happened? I accidentally hit the stop button on myself, but I just know that because of how things played out, that God has a better person coming into my life eventually. And whether that's sooner than I'm realizing or later than I hope for, I know that it is in God's hands, and I know that it's in His timing. And if I just trust and believe and show up every single day for Him, that He is going to work in my life in extraordinary ways, and I couldn't even picture the life that He's going to give me. And I'm so grateful for that. So I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. Before the breakup happens, I get an opportunity. I'm looking for a job. I get an opportunity to apply to a job that I know I would like. I know I would like being around the people. I know I would like the job in itself. I know it's going to give me experience. I know that I would love that. And I love my job, by the way. But it just created some conflict. And it created conflict that neither me nor my ex wanted to confront. We just wanted to act like it wasn't going to happen. And that was that. So I applied to this job before we're broken up. I applied to the job. And I get an interview. Breakup happens. The day, literally the morning of my interview, I go in there like nothing's happening. I answer every single thing to the best of my knowledge, and a few days later, I get the call that I am being offered the position. God's timing. 2 words. God's timing. That job, as scary as it was to go through change, especially change on top of the breakup and change on top of starting a new position, new classes of school were starting, so much was happening at that point in time. And there was a pivoting point in my businesses, I should say. This podcast was released a few weeks before anything happened, and I was just really focusing on what legacy I could leave. And whenever I got offered the position, I got that phone call. Before I even got that phone call, I told my mom, I don't know if I want to take this. I don't know if I want to do this. Crying, because it was so uncomfortable in that point in time that I was scared to go do it. But everything in me, God and just talking to Him, was telling me, you need this position, please take it. I'm going to work through you if you take this position. It's going to change your life if you take this position. You need to take this position and not let the fear control you. Let me guide you. And So I was like, I got the call, he offered it to me, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Like, you're starting in a week. Okay. I need that week to go through everything and to, just feel my feelings. And I start the job, and I am telling you, month in, I want to say, a little over a month in, and I absolutely love it. I love the job that I have, and it works so well with my schedule. It works so well in my life, and I love being around the people I'm around. And ever since I started that position, God has been working through me like no other time in my life. And I'm so grateful that this is happening at the age that it's happening. And so grateful that I am in a position that I could change courses in my life right now. If you don't know, I am in college, and I do online classes just because I did in person and I didn't like it. So I switched to online to work on my businesses and to work in general. So I'm a pretty busy gal, but I can change the course of the degree that I'm gonna get, and I think I'm going to. I don't know for sure. I don't want to say anything for sure, but I am very, very excited, and I hope that it works out. But if I didn't take that position, if I didn't trust and believe that God had a bigger plan for me the day that I got that phone call, or the day that I went into the interview room, like 7 o'clock in the morning, so much is going on this day. I think this is one of the busiest days I've had this whole entire year. And 7 o'clock in the morning, I get a text message that the relationship is over. In a few hours, I have a interview that I really want the position for. And like, I have to be open and honest in this interview. And like, if I am not, I'm not going to get the position. So much is going through me. I'm just like, you know what? It's going to happen how it's meant to happen. God has planned for me, and I'm just going to let him take control. It was insane that day. So much going through me. And there's so much that happened even after the interview that I'm just like, how did I get through that? After the interview, I had to take my cat to the vet. I had to get a huge project done for school because I was finishing a class and then starting a new class. So that was a little twisted at the beginning of the episode, but I was finishing a huge final project, and then I had to go to the store. And in between my schoolwork and going to the store, I got extremely sick, like sick to my stomach. I had to go lay on the couch and eat buttered toast with some 7-Up. My stomach was not doing good, and I don't know why. I know it was just everything that I was going through, but after or during shopping, like, it just kept getting worse. And on the way home, my back was so tense that I've never felt that pain before. Like, it was to the point to where that throughout that whole night, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and like was in excruciating pain. And then I had a family trip that day. We had to go travel. That's a whole other story, but it was a lot. And I just know that if I didn't rely on him, if I didn't rely on God, if I didn't trust and believe that what he has in store for me is better than what I had in store for myself at that point, then I would not be where I am today. I would not be okay a little over a month later. I would not. And like, I am so happy with my life right now. So happy. I mean, there's a few things that like I'm like, that could be a little bit better. It could be a lot better. And I hope one day that it is. I hope one day it's better than I could have ever imagined. And I hope one day that it is beautiful and it is God's plan in my life. And I can't explain the feeling inside of me. Like, I just feel so free. I feel like the worry and the stress and everything is just lifted off of my shoulders and on God's. Like, he has it all. It's in his hands. It's in his power. He just wants to work through me, so I have to take the action to do it. And I'm okay with that. I am 100% okay with that. And so, trusting in him and believing that my plan is 10 times smaller than the one he has for me. 10 times. Maybe even more. I don't really know, because obviously he likes to keep some secrets sometimes, but we're not gonna get into that. But I think it's just so amazing how his plan can be so greater, and his timing is completely different than your timing. I mean, sometimes they line up together, but if he has showed you his purpose for your life, if he has told you over and over, like, this is what you're meant to do, this is how you're going to do it, and this is how I want you to do it. If he has said that to you multiple times, if he has showed you multiple times that you need to get out of a situation or you need to get into an opportunity, if he has put that in your life, then you should be doing what he's saying and trusting and believing that his timing and his plan is better than what you have come up in your mind. There's nothing like trusting and believing in him. Every single weight that you feel that is pulling you down is lifted off of you, and you feel like you are floating like a cloud. I can tell you, ever since I took this job, I have been reading my Bible every single day, minus like 1 or 2. I've missed a few days, and just getting into the habit, it takes a little while, but man, I feel good. And I know that his plan is so good. And I know there was a point that I was trying to explain, and I completely forget what that point was. So that's basically it for this episode. I just want you guys to realize your timing is not going to be God's timing. I can tell you there's something that's been going on, that's been brewing in my life, been going on in my life. And I was like, nope, this is going to wait 3 years, like 3 years until this happens. And there's something brewing that I am I'm nervous about it, but I mean, if it's the right thing, then it's the right thing. And if it's different than the timing that I had, God has something better for me. And I can't help but just smile when I think about this situation. I don't want to give too much details away just because it's personal. And I know I've told you guys before that I'm going to be open and honest with you. So I'm going to be open and honest with you as much as possible. But I'm still going to keep this in my life because it's something that I need to keep to myself for right now. You'll know eventually. But I am just smiling at the situation because if this is in God's plans and if this truly happens, it's gonna blow me away. And I know that it was meant to be. And another thing, I think I talked about this a little bit, but just like school, the thing I want to switch to is more godly focused, but still what I'm studying. So it's like, I know that the main part is something that God has always put on my heart. And the other part has been more recently. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I want to start talking more about my spirituality, my religion, and talking more about God and how you can trust in Him and just believe and understand that if you rely on something, on Him, rather than relying on something within yourself, that you are going to feel this weight lifted off of you, and you are going to feel like so powerful and feel like everything in you is, you're just going with the flow. Basically, you're going with whatever He tells you the morning you wake up, and it's just so beautiful. It's so freeing, and I'm literally smiling. I have no words. But I'm just gonna end the video, or the episode, here. I'm gonna end it here because I'm just gonna keep rambling, and nobody wants to hear 10 more minutes of me rambling. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys are interested, make sure to check out the show notes. And also, I want to let you guys know that this is also added to my YouTube channel. So there's another platform for listening to the podcast, and it's over on my YouTube channel. I will link that down below as well. But all of my social medias are linked in the show notes if you guys want to check it out. And I will see you guys next week for another episode, and I don't know what's coming, so I couldn't even give you a spoiler.